JBNN keep you informed. I'm Michelle Jones. Before I get into the news, please remember to like, subscribe, leave a comment, and share the news with someone today. Now onto the news. Man killed, another wounded in St. Ann gun attack. 2 men were shot, one fatally, in the community of Eltham in Ocho St. Ann on Tuesday evening. The deceased has been identified as Conrad Johnson of Eltham. The other man has been admitted to hospital. According to reports, about 8 o'clock, the men were walking in the vicinity of the cemetery in Eltham when a white Toyota Probox motorcar drove up. The occupants alighted and opened fire. Johnson was hit multiple times, but the other man was injured in his shoulder. They were taken to hospital, where Johnson was pronounced dead. 2 elderly residents found dead in separate incidents in St. Ann. 2 communities in St. Ann are mourning the deaths of 2 senior citizens whose bodies were found in advanced states of decomposition on Tuesday. The deceased are 75-year-old farmer Arthur Bennett of Caledonia District and the 72-year-old retiree Winsome Chang Gordon of Madras District, also in Wat Town. Chang Gordon's body was discovered at her home about 8:10 a.m., the police say. Almost 2 hours later, around 10 a.m., the body of Bennett was found at his residence in the neighboring community of Caledonia District. Both scenes were processed by investigators, and the bodies were removed for post-mortem examinations. Founder and executive chairperson of the Caribbean Community for Retired Persons, Jean Laurie Chin, expressed sadness about the deaths. The Brownstown Criminal Investigation Branch is probing both matters. She was a polite and brilliant, residents say. Residents are struggling to come to terms with the heartbreaking loss of 9-year-old Amoya Moore, a child they described as polite, bright, and full of promise. The Villa Road Primary School was on her way to school Tuesday morning when tragedy struck, a cruel twist of fate that has shattered her family, neighbors, and the school community.
I stopped smoking for actually a year now, and I have to start smoking. This is how terrible the effect is on. Well, actually, I started calling down the other neighbors, and I started calling them down. And at that time, when I look around, I did not see him. It looked like he ran into one of the neighbors' house. I didn't see him. I did not see him at all. Because I was asking, why are you driving away? Why are you driving away? So I get mad and run up on the truck now and grab him in his throat and take the key out of the ignition. Tragedy is a tragical scene. So it's not a good sight. I'm telling you, not a good sight. I was washing my car this morning. The rubbish truck came down, picked up garbage at my gate, went up into Bonita Heights. On the way down, that's when tragedy struck. I was washing my car, I heard the scream. Then I saw one of the sidemen running up the road, holding his head. Then when I ran out, first thing I saw was her tripe on the ground and her feet hanging out. And then the driver came out, he looked, went back into the truck and started the truck. And I had to basically I grabbed him in the throat and took out the key. That's how basically he's on the scene. He didn't get to drive away the truck because he started the truck and was going to drive away the truck. So basically it's just heart-rendering. It's just heart-rendering. And I would not like to be in the parents' shoes at this moment. Because nothing cannot bring back the child, and this pain is going to be a lifelong thing. She's a polite girl, she don't walk past you and say good morning or nothing. She's a polite little girl. It's her daily routine. She was in the banking. When that happened. So I don't know if the driver was gazing or what, or if he was on his phone, because he was coming down. It's not like he was reversing, he was coming down. So it's just heart-rendering. So it's not like I'm a parent of the deceased or anything. It's just what I saw, it's just messed up. It was just messed up. Nobody deserves life. Nobody.
Well, as for me personally, I don't know her that well. As we say, she's more of an indoor type of girl. She just go to school and back home. But we know that she's very polite. Because if you're coming up in the lane, she would say good morning and so forth and so on. You understand? And we also learned that she's very brilliant. She's a brilliant girl at school. You understand? Because the principal for the school is here and some of our teachers. You understand? And they share their insights about Amara. You understand? It is a very tragic situation, and it's also very devastating to the community. All of us are right now because we are parents. I'm a father of 2 daughters, so I can identify with the father who is supposed to feel. Like I can't say I know how he feels, but I can just imagine. You understand? What?
Cabinet cancels Christmas parties across government after Hurricane Melissa. Cabinet has ordered the cancellation of Christmas parties across government as recovery following the passage of Hurricane Melissa takes priority. Information Minister Dr. Dana Morris-Dixon made the announcement at a news conference on Wednesday.
Christmas parties for government entities are off for this year. We will not be having Christmas parties. We have agreed to allow small in-ministry or in-department recognition and morale building activities. So if you're doing something in the office itself, that is fine, but no rental of external venues is allowed. We are strongly, though, encouraging all our ministries, departments, and agencies to conduct outreach activities with members of their team that have been affected and who reside in the affected areas. So we would love to see many of our ministries, departments, and agencies continuing the work that many are doing in terms of doing outreach in the affected areas. In terms of the private sector, we're definitely encouraging the private sector to continue doing what they are doing. We've had reports of many hotels saying that, they're seeing cancellations from private sector entities. We really do need to kind of make up for what is happening in the West in terms of the downturn in economic activity. So those of us in areas that haven't been affected as much, please go out, spend money. The economy needs it, but at the same time, please spend time doing outreach in the affected areas.
Vance defends JPS loan, accuses opposition of shedding crocodile tears. Energy Minister Darrell Vance has defended the government's decision to offer a loan to the Jamaica Public Service JPS, following criticism some opposition members of parliament. Vance addressed the backlash while speaking in a post-cabinet press briefing on Wednesday.
If JPS is requiring $450 million so that the good people of Eastern Westmoreland and elsewhere can receive can receive electricity, and currently from what we are aware of thus far, the government is willing to lend 150 out of the amount. Yes? Of the 450, the government is willing to lend 450, government is willing to lend 150. Well, 350, whichever figure it is, say 350, the government is willing to lend 150, but they require 350 so that all the persons that are currently affected can get back light.
No, man, you ask the question, ask the question.
What is the sum that is required by JPS to restore electricity to all of the persons who are currently affected?
So the Minister of Energy has just indicated $150 million US.
So that means that the $350 million is to restore, and
those are details that we don't have. JPS would be the entity that would answer those questions as to the details of any loan that they take on.
But I am not sure, Minister, that is what we were presented with in this House.
Yes.
We were told that JPS required $350 million, and that the government would be loaning $150 million.
Yes.
That is what we were told.
Absolutely.
Has that number been revised?
Those are details that we don't have. JPS would be the entity that would answer those questions as to the details of any loan that they take on.
But I am not sure, Minister, that is what we were presented with in this House.
Yes.
we were told that JPS required $350 million
That's correct.
and that the government would be loaning $150 million.
Yes.
That is what we were told.
Absolutely.
Has that number been revised?
And advance we're asking now. And advance we're
So the minister has indicated US 150 to restore by the end of January 2026.
So who's lying somewhere? Somebody not telling the truth. Somebody not telling the truth. Eh? Yeah. You can, I say, who is lying? I ask the question. You can decide whatever the answer is.
The minister, this is not as easy as just a soapbox moment. This is not a political soapbox moment to just say 150 and you get back light. It's not. What we're talking about here is also the finances of the country. So I'm saying I need to know when JPS did their estimates, their assessment as to the damage from the devastating Category 5 hurricane, what is it that is required to restore electricity to all of the persons that were affected? That's what I need to know, because previously we were all of the impression that that was 350 million. Then we heard it being revised upwards to about 400 million. And now we are told that only 150 million is required to restore electricity to all affected persons.
All right, so member,
Something smells there.
member, please put your questions to the Minister of Energy in the order, the parliamentary order, and he will respond at that time.
Not even you know.
Chair, just to follow up on that, it is an important question, because if 350 million is the figure that is required and they have received 150, it would leave a shortfall of 200. Now, if JPS is currently in a predicament where the license that they have to operate, they currently have no guarantee beyond another 2 years, and their entire revenue that they will earn over those 2 years is less than the 200 million, then it would mean that some further assessment would need to be done prior to making a loan of 150 million US. It makes a whole heap of sense. Yes, they want light. Yes, they do. And that's why we need to know how much to give them light.
We
need to know how much to give them the light that they need.
Hold on, member. The JPS is not a government entity. It is not a ministry agency or department of government. Hold on.
I'm holding.
And so, member, while you can ask questions as it relates to what is in the budget and the supplementary estimate, to ask how a business plans to be able to finance and execute.
I wasn't asking that.
The remainder of the money needed to restore us.
No.
To restore us of the Minister of Finance.
Madam Chair, you are accusing me of something that I did not do or I did not say. Hold on. My concern is that my government, yes, is lending from taxpayers' money 150 million US to JPS. I need to know, right, if that is a wise financial transaction that my government is undertaking. I have a right to know that. The answer to that question is not just that the people want light. The answer to that question is not just that the people want light. Right? No. If it is that they require 350 and their license only has 2 more years on it, then any prudent individual is going to think twice before they lend them the money, because they have no guarantee to continue operating beyond 2 years.
All right, member,
so
hold on a moment.
Basis did the finance ministry take a decision to lend the 150 million?
Member, hold on a minute, please.
So, madam,
so member, put those questions. I'm just saying.
Members, please allow Member Green to speak.
I implore you, member.
Finance Minister, a moment.
Yeah, raised in the House and was fully ventilated. Madam Chair, the Minister of Energy gave a comprehensive statement on this matter. The questions were asked. I made this point to make. We are not saying that there can't be further concerns, but we have to remember what we're treating with now. Questions have been asked about the loan and have been answered. The other questions would have to be directed to the Minister of Energy.
Members, are you interested in coming back to committee meeting? For those who are outside, are you ready to come back in? Members, remember the others of us would like to continue our meeting.
What is the opportunity cost? What are we sacrificing? What are we sacrificing for $24 billion to be spent so that we don't wait 3 months for restoration? What can that $24 billion do when everything else that we're borrowing, it is going to come at a cost for interest rates? Who made that determination that 3 months of earlier restoration is worth $24 billion at a time like this?
So member, if our hospitals, if our hospitals.
Time is of the essence, and I would like to hear the Minister of Finance response, and this type of behavior is not of any use to any of us or the public. For Minister to be heard, we have to be quiet. Could you all stop? Minister, please allow the Minister of Finance to respond, and for us to close this segment. There is more work to be done today.
I would love you to ask the patient that is waiting for a life-saving operation, to ask that patient what is the opportunity cost of $25 billion. Ask that patient.
Members, if there are no other members, please, this is not how we conduct the House.
2 specific MPs in Westmoreland who came to, one went on social media and hit out against the JPS loan, and one in Parliament yesterday who grilled the Minister of Finance about the prudence of this. Yet still, one of them on social media up to recently was crying crocodile tears in one and then fighting against it. I want to leave this with you. As usual, I like to go to my Oxford dictionary and I Google crocodile tears. Tears are expressions of sorrow that are insincere. The origin mid-16th century, said to be named from a belief that crocodile wept while devouring or luring their prey. That is the one on social media. The one yesterday that called We're Crying Parliament last week. We have a thing called dry cry. I looked it up and it said dry cry meaning in Jamaica. In Jamaican patois, dry cry often refers to pretending to cry or shedding fake tears to gain sympathy, attention, or manipulate a situation. It implies a false sense. It implies a false display of sadness without being genuine. I leave that to the Jamaican people to judge and to say to you as I close, God always knows best, and that is why the Andronis JLP government was chosen to lead this recovery and rebuild process. That's why I'm Minister of Energy working with JPS on early restoration of remaining JPS customers without light. That will be able to do so in a matter of weeks. I want to remind Jamaica that we are 5 weeks into Melissa and we have restored 82% of JPS customers. First world countries have had less than category 5 and taken 6 months to a year to be able to do so. I want to say again in closing, I stoutly defend the recommendation of the loan to JPS to Cabinet and the approval given rather than an extension of the existing electricity license to JPS. And I have no regrets or apologies, as it's the best option for the people of Jamaica to allow for a return to normalcy in the shortest possible time. The government has done the right thing based on extreme circumstances that the country and the people face at this time, especially with Christmas and New Year's. And as I said a few months ago, I was going to give the people of Jamaica bus after bus after bus. I'm going to give them light after light after light. God bless Jamaica, and we look forward to continuing the work for you, the people.
WOM is a stickler for protocols.
Member Campbell, just a moment. The permanent secretary will need to provide his answer to the minister for the minister to respond. In addition, the Minister Morgan, who is within the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation, has asked for an intervention to assist with this particular response. Oh, sorry, member, your mic is on. My apologies.
It's me here.
Go right ahead, Member Warmington.
Madam Chairman, I've been here since 1980, came back 2002, and I'm amazed to see that the permanent secretary is responding to questions in this house. The minister ought to respond to any question asked here, not the permanent secretary. So I'm asking, maybe not asking, may I say, we turn to the protocol in this house, whereby questions are not directed to the permanent secretary, and the permanent secretary does not respond. Technical officers, consultant advisors do not respond in this house. All answers must be.
No, additionally, your mic is on, Member Warmington.
Hold on, then. When I'm speaking, I do not expect anybody to cut off my mic. I came back here.
Warmington.
Let me finish.
Member Warmington, on a point of order.
No.
On a
Chairman,
point of
you don't
order
call
from
point
the
of
chair.
order.
From the chair. Member Warmington, you have several mics on, and I don't even need to call on any privilege as chair.
Madam
You
Speaker.
had other persons also making a point of order.
But they can't cut me off in the middle of it.
Have no clue if you're finished, and I didn't know
I
your
was
mic
not
was off.
I did not complete what I'm
So
saying, Madam
kindly
Chairman.
complete your statement.
Madam Chairman, may I say
And-
to you, you cannot call point of order as Chairman
No,
and
well,
Speaker.
I don't even want
Point
to
of
use
order
privilege.
can come from only the floor, not from you.
You had one. You had one from the
No.
floor.
The Chairman can't call point of order on me. We can call point of order, not the chair or the Speaker. But I'm saying that I've never seen it in my 30 years here.
Yes, and you have said that before, and you will not repeat in the House. Complete your
Madam Chairman.
Complete your intervention, Member
Madam
Warmington.
Chairman.
Member Warmington.
Madam Chairman.
Complete your
here.
intervention without repetition.
I have the greatest respect for you, but do not. I have the largest number of votes in this House, 10,000 plus. So do not do it. And don't cut me off either. Let me speak. I'm saying when a member raises an issue, it's only a minister can respond in his House, not permanent secretary officers. I'm trying to the attention of this House. I came in 1980, never before. But I don't finish yet. Don't cut me off. I'm saying only the minister can respond. The permanent secretary, technical officer must advise her what to say. Don't cut off my mic, Don't do it again.
JBN will keep you informed. Please remember to subscribe, like, share, leave us a comment, and click the notification bell to receive our daily news items.